sit on a bench the opposite way, be whimsical, just choose different things, have a party with yourself. And I'm somebody who spends a lot of time on my own, granted maybe through proximity to friends that I grew up with. I moved away from the place I grew up about 8 years ago, and it was lonely. Granted, yes, I found myself going to London every week, fortnight, whatever, just meeting up with my friends and whatnot. And then it slowly became a one-sided relationship most of the time, where it was always me putting in the effort. And I feel as though a lot of my life has just been me putting in the absolute maximum tiring effort and asking myself the question of, why aren't others doing the same for me? And you kind of end up blaming people and blaming yourself and then blaming the situation. And then later you just realize, is it really anyone's fault? No. Are people just living their own lives and just going about their days? Yeah. Can you really be upset with somebody for doing something that you necessarily didn't like? Yeah, if it hurt you, you can be upset about it. But once you've processed the way you're feeling, you can choose happiness. You can just choose to be you. Now, when death stares, all you can do is smile back. Marcus Aurelius, 2 AD. Now, the reason why I say that is because at the age of 25, I almost died. I developed this condition called necrotizing fasciitis. Now, I know that's an absolute mouthful, and honestly, getting my head around the phrase necrotizing fasciitis it's something I hope people who are listening to this never have to hear that word ever again, necrotizing fasciitis, because it is a flesh-eating bacteria that I do not know how I got, but I had. And God, it was traumatizing. Initially, it was a struggle to just sit on my bum. Now, just for point of reference, I developed this condition, we're not children. I developed this condition on my backside. And initially it was a struggle for me to sit down. Went to the doctors, said it was one thing, blah, this, that. Long story short, I got misdiagnosed. And the doctor said to me, if it starts bleeding, then come back to the hospital and we can look into it further. Now, it got to the point where I was in my home, in my bedroom. I couldn't even get up to go to the toilet. I was defecating, throwing up in the bed, and my mum had to come change me, this, that, blah, 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 because I just couldn't get up to go to the toilet. It was just horrible. And quite frequently I'd have conversations with my granddad, who passed away in 2005, I believe, and the conversations just were along the lines of, in Punjabi, "Koi gal nahi, mera put, main aa gaya." Like, don't worry, my son, I'm here. Everything will be okay. I've just come to take you, and I'd be laying there, my granddad would be consoling me and just letting me know that everything's going to be okay and everything's going to be all right. And it felt like he was there to just take me on to wherever I was going next. And the consensus from the hospital was, if you bleed, if it starts bleeding, come to the hospital. And it got so bad that I told a complete lie to my parents and said, and I'm not really somebody to lie, I don't enjoy lying. I just feel as though with lying in general, you end up eventually spilling the truth anyway, so just start off with the truth and who cares what happens from there. But I lied to my parents and I said, I'm bleeding, let's go to the hospital. Luckily I did, because then I found out, I believe I was septic, but I was approximately 4 hours away from everything waist below being amputated and 8 hours away from passing away. So if I had gone to sleep that night, I would have passed away. Luckily, that lie saved my life, and full credit to the doctors. I mean, it was a horrible recovery period, and it's something that I'm still recovering from now. I didn't realize the mental toll it took. And I later found out that I was on an antibiotic drip in the hospital for around a few weeks. And I later found out that high levels of antibiotics and just tablets in general really mess with your mental health, and you don't really necessarily make the best decisions. And I had an open wound of about 7 centimeters deep, which I'm still dealing with. It's not 7 centimeters deep anymore, but still there. I wear pads. I've worn pads every single day for the past 4 years. It's an uncomfortable conversation, but you still get discharge, you still get blood every day. It's something you deal with on a constant day. on a constant daily basis, and it makes you sympathetic to what other people have to go through on a daily basis, or a monthly basis, or whatever it is. But having that there and still there at the minute, and still needing 2 more operations for it, because the first operation didn't necessarily fix the core issue. Nearly dying at 25 really puts your life into perspective. Not straight away, maybe 18 months, 24 months after, which was the case for me, around 2 years after the incident. When your life is nearly taken from you, seemingly like that, it makes an impact, man. It's tough. Why do I do the things I do? Why did I go through life just wasting moments with people that didn't necessarily reciprocate the same feelings towards me as I did towards them? Friends, family members, goes for everyone. But I say I'm re-falling in love with life again, and I am. But really and truly, I'm just re-falling in love with the person that I'm becoming and the person that I was. I want to live, I want to laugh, I want to love. As cliche as that is, it's me. And I want to be the best version of me, for me, as possible. Not for anyone else, just for me. And once my glass is full, I can splurge and fill others' cups with the love that I have. But most of my life, and I see this with my mum, and I definitely get it from my mum, the willingness to do so much for others, which is a great trait to have. I'm not going to knock it. Honestly, I'm naturally hardwired to give so much, and I'm not going to feel guilty for that. That's what makes me, hit the microphone, that's what makes me the person that I am, and I wouldn't be any other way. It's just about learning my limitations as a person and prioritizing myself within that. I love to be somebody who people can call upon, and somebody who can listen, somebody who can understand, and somebody who can maybe relate and be a part of someone's life, but within the boundaries of me. Like, it's my life. And I feel as though I feel as though there was a lesson in school or something that was putting yourself first. And maybe I called in sick that day, maybe I was ill that day, and maybe I was ill. Maybe I just missed it completely, and maybe it's just a lesson I don't remember. But I feel as though I missed a vital lesson of life that others got. And I feel as though I'm learning it at the age of 29, but better late than ever. God, I feel like sometimes in my head it dawns upon me that I am 29 years old. That's it. That is it. I am 29 years old. I'm so young. I have so much endless possibility of where my life could go. Yet I sit here sometimes and I just dread, and I get caught up in this rut of just what others may think of me, what crisis I'm dealing with at the minute, or what business thing I gotta do, or just, God, so much bullshit. It's just what it is, just bullshit. And then I breathe and I say, I'm 29 years old. That's it. Sometimes I feel like I'm 60, and to my older friends in general, I tend to relate to more, because I feel as though we've had similar life experiences. Now, not to sound braggadocious, if that's the right word, braggadocious, about any of it, but I feel as though I've lived 2 to 3, maybe even 4 lifetimes within my short 29 years on this earth, floating around the globe, just different people, different walks of life, different things that I've just been exposed to as a kid, as a teenager, and especially in my 20s. Just the different things that I tried to do and failed miserably, and picking myself up, and then failing again, and then picking myself up, and then failing again, and then picking myself up, and then just keep failing. And eventually you'll succeed. And there were moments throughout that I was like, right, I've succeeded. Boom, failure, success, failure. And you see it as it's the right word, arbitrary. If it is, cool. If it's not, you'll figure out what I mean. But it's a very arbitrary thing to go black and white, so black and white of failure, success. And the realization that I made was, it's not failure, it's not success, it's just life. Life is up, down, up, down. And I believe it was Drake, funny enough, who said, don't get too caught up in the highs, don't get too caught up in the lows, you always just ride the medium wave. And that way nothing will ever surprise you, or nothing will ever get you down or get you too high up. And you want to experience those lows and you want to experience those highs. But the more I found myself just operating within the middle, the happier I actually was, because it was just it's not about feeling the extreme highs, it's just about managing the extreme lows. Because You can only fall so much if you don't rise too much in your emotional state. Maybe, I don't know. But then again, what do I know? I'm just a guy on a bench who just loves to talk and who just wants to understand what it means to be human, just what it means to be you in the best way that you possibly could. And maybe I'll figure that out along the way, and maybe I won't, but it's my journey to figure out and nobody else's.